Let me just say, after video distorting the belt, they're proclaiming the real world champion. I'm going to tell you all, with a tear in my eye, this is the greatest moment in my life. When you walk around this world and you tell everybody you're number one, the only way you get to stay number one is to be number one.
Woo! Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network, powered up by the Belly Up Sports Network of podcasts. Sit back and enjoy as we bring you the latest and greatest in the world of sports, everything from the Detroit Lions to the state of Michigan sports to around the country and around the world. So what are you waiting for? Let's get out there and let's watch the latest edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza. And good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network, and of course, powered up by Belly Up Sports and the Belly Up Network of podcasts. Good evening, everybody. Captain Lou here with you on the ACHA Power Play. We got a great show planned for you tonight. We're going to go D1 centric here tonight. Joining us shortly will be special guest Gary Astalos, the head coach of Adrian College. The Bulldogs off to a great start again this year, and he'll stop by and talk a little Bulldog hockey as they are in the midst of another good year, as I mentioned. And at the bottom of the hour, Carl Trosien is going to join us. He's the head coach of Purdue Northwest in his first year down there. And again, they're off to a great start. As a matter of fact, they are ranked for the first time in program history, and they're in Division I. I think they're ranked 22nd. So Carl will stop by and join us as well. So sit back and enjoy. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving, everybody. I know I did. Everything but the Lions winning. They were close, right? Well, I know there was a little bit of hockey going on this weekend, but it gets back in earnest coming up this weekend. We got some great matchups throughout the country, as I know, as the road to Boston is in full gear here tonight, as we're less than 4 months away. I know a lot of teams are probably going to play this weekend and maybe next weekend and then take the Christmas holidays off. And then, as an old sidekick of mine, Mark Van Vliet, used to say, this is the marathon, this part of it. Then once the holidays are over, that's the sprint. That's when the teams really start playing for keeps, for lack of a better word, as jockeying for position, trying to get into the top 20 of Division I, for example, to get one of those berths into the Nationals, which this year will be just outside of Boston in Marlborough, Massachusetts. It's going to be great this year, as all five teams are going to be, or all five divisions rather, are going to be in the same building. And if you want to watch some great college hockey, if you're going to be in the Boston area towards the middle of March 16th through the 21st, I highly recommend that you take a ride and take in some great ACHA hockey. I've been fortunate enough to be a part of it now for the last 6 years, doing the national broadcast and whatnot, and it gets better and better every year, and we're really looking forward to a great show. So again, joining us shortly will be Gary Astalos. We don't hear from him here in the next moment or two. Maybe we'll get him on the horn here and see if he's available. We touched base with him over the weekend, and he said he'd be available to come on tonight. So I know they've got their Tuesday day of giving going on for ACH, or for Adrian College. I know that they've got a fundraiser going on as well. So we'll hopefully get to talk to Gary here shortly about that. And again, Carl Trosien at the bottom of the hour. I know Gary's going to be playing some pickup hockey tonight, so we want to get him in pregame mode here. So again, we want to thank everybody for joining us here on the Captain Lou Sports Network for the ACHA Power Play. Tell us what you think. Follow us on the Captain Lou Extravaganza Facebook page, as well as follow us on follow me on Twitter at The Real Captain Lou, or you can drop me an email at sweetlou1965@yahoo.com. So again, as I mentioned, a lot of big games going on this weekend as well. I know in Grand Rapids next weekend, they've got a local tournament with the 4 teams there, Calvin, Grand Valley, and whatnot. So without any further ado, let's get to the phone lines and let's bring in first the head coach of Adrian College, the Bulldogs. That's Gary Astalos. Gary, hey, thanks for joining us again. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me, Lou. Doing well, and hoping all is well on your end as well.
Oh, everything's fantastic. Just talking about a great Thanksgiving that I had. Ate a little too much food, but don't we always on Thanksgiving? But now that we got that passed, now it's start to gear back up for some hockey, right?
Right, absolutely.
Well, Gary, what can we say? Off to another great start for you guys this year. I think in the latest rankings, I know the coaches don't look at it as much, but you're sitting in the third spot. But off to a good start this year, 16-2-1.
Yeah, I'm really happy with our group. I think we've been working really hard, and the guys have been competing, and we tried to kind of build a little tougher schedule this year, and I think the guys have responded well. So I just want to keep the ball rolling here into this last series before the break.
I wanted to ask you about that schedule. I've talked to a couple other coaches in the last year about this. With the success that you've enjoyed, Gary, does it make it easier to get these teams to come in or for them to take you on at their place to toughen you guys up, for lack of a better word?
Yeah, I mean, you have to remember we have 9 teams in our conference, so
Yeah.
16 conference games. So more than half of our D1 schedules is conference play. So we really try and have those non-conference games with the toughest opponents we can. We have Liberty for 4, Ohio for 2, Dearborn for 2. Like we try and play a tough non-conference schedule. So we're very fortunate to get those good teams on our schedule, and we're going to hope to continue to do that again next year as well.
Do they call you a lot to try to fit you into their schedule since you've had that success?
Yeah, I think it's both ways. We on our end are trying to get top teams too. So it's definitely mutual, and it's tough though, because if you're trying to get a high end team that's in a conference, you're working around your own conference games, their conference games. So sometimes it's more so does the scheduling line up than anything else.
So I got to ask you. 2 years ago, obviously, you climbed the top of the mountain. You won the national championship. Very exhilarating. Last year, you made it to the semifinals. What was tougher, Gary, getting to the top, or was it tougher defending and not quite? After you've tasted victory at the ultimate level at D1, was it harder the following year with maybe more teams gunning for you?
Yeah, I think it is. It's tough. Like we had to defend it in 19, and then again
Yeah.
last year. And you have the target on your back, and everyone's trying to take you off the top, and it is tough. And part of it's that, and part of it's your own locker room. I think that year after you win it, it's so much easier to go into training camp maybe at 95% instead of 100% where you feel you should be. And you have to remind the guys that the reason you got to the top was because you worked so hard, and just keeping that entitlement out of your own locker room. It's tough. It's difficult. I do think it's really hard to stay at the top, especially with so many really good teams at the national tournament. I mean, you look at it this year, anyone can honestly beat anyone, and you can't take any night off. So yeah, I think that year where you're trying to defend is definitely probably a little bit more difficult.
Gary, one of the things I've noticed since watching, since all the teams have come together back in 17, I think it was, I think the talent level at the top is so much closer. There's not as many like for example, the one team is so much higher than the 10th ranked team or whatever seeded team. Man, even at the national level, you can't take one period off. And I think there's so many closer teams that it's that much more difficult to win in that format.
I agree. And I think this year, I've noticed it in my 7 years in the league. I think this year is definitely the closest, in my opinion, it's been. I mean, those guys that just get in at the very end, whether the 16, 17, 18, 19, or 20 seed, they can legitimately bump off for one or a two. Like it is that close. So, yeah, and I think you're seeing it in the games right now throughout the year. There's just a ton of talented groups and teams, and a lot of schools supporting their hockey program. So it's great to see. I think it's absolutely awesome.
Oh, it is, and that's what I tell everybody. If you're in the area for the nationals or even for these conference tournaments, you want to see some good hockey, man. There's nothing better because these kids, a lot of these kids, this is it for them, and I just love the competitiveness, and the quality definitely is up there. We're joined by head coach Gary Astalos of Adrian College, ACHA men's Division I team, off to a 16-2-1 start, 8-0 in the conference. Gary, I noticed with your roster this year, you do have a handful of seniors, I think 6 or 7 grad students as well, but you've got a nice mixture of underclassmen that seem to be picking up the slack. How is that? Not really picking up the slack, but kind of blending in, for lack of a better word. How's that kind of transition been going for you so far?
Yeah, it's been really good. We want to be a diverse team. We want to be good in all 3 zones, and I think it's been good. Our seniors have done a really good job, leading the way, and we do have a couple grad students this year, and yeah, from juniors to sophomores to freshmen. I think our freshmen have fit in really well this year, and everyone's facing adversity and everyone's battling injuries, but I definitely think we've been on the bad end of a couple injuries. We're out quite a few guys right now, but I think a lot of guys have stepped up, and we take a lot of pride in having depth and our top guys and quote unquote bottom guys. There's really not a difference. Like it's a good group of really hardworking guys. So it's been that next man up mentality over these probably last 5 or 6 weeks, and I'm definitely happy from freshmen to seniors. It's been really good so far.
Yeah, I look at, like, just for example, your scoring stats, and you and I have talked about this before. You can roll out 4 lines, and I think you've got like a dozen or so guys that are double figures points, including defensemen, and a couple more right at 9. There's just so many ways that you can plug into your lineup right now. That depth is amazing for you.
Yeah, I mean, we take a lot of pride in it for sure, and the practices, especially Mondays and Tuesdays, are competitive, and it's obviously it's fun. Like it's a lot of fun because our guys, they work and especially in those early week practices. So definitely take a lot of pride in the depth of the roster for sure.
I know you've got Purdue Northwest coming up this weekend, but after that, you got a 5-week break. What do you do during that 5-week break? And what about the kids? I know they've got finals and whatnot, because obviously academics comes first. But what do they do to kind of stay sharp during the holidays?
Yeah, so we'll actually, our finals week is the week after those Purdue Northwest games. So we shut it down that week because they have exams Monday it could be to Friday. So it's you're right. School comes first. And so we don't even practice that week. We let the guys focus on their studies, and then they'll go home after their last exam, and then they'll have, workouts at home that they'll do. And then I believe our guys report back, I think on January 2nd, 2nd or 3rd. And so we'll kind of practice there for a week and a half and kind of get right back going into it.
Lastly, Gary, before I let you go, I know you've got some fun tonight being in your own men's league or whatever. What do you need to work on, do you think, as 2023 approaches? Again, I look at the schedule. You touched on it. My goodness, you've got Stony Brook, Calvin, who's really playing well, Liberty again, Duquesne. Oh my goodness, Michigan Dearborn. What, as a team, maybe do you think you might have to sharpen up a little bit, maybe after break as you get into this gauntlet before your conference tournaments?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of areas that we can get better and improve in. We take a lot of pride in our D zone, and we want to limit, scoring opportunities and chances for other teams. And um, I really do think there's all areas of our game where we can improve, and from special teams and power play and PK to systems and in all three zones. So I can't think of anything off the top of my head exactly that we might want to focus on, but there's a lot of areas that we can improve in, and we'll definitely use this time over break to use video and learn and get better and get the ball rolling, because as you mentioned, we really did want to make that second semester tougher. And I mean, you listed all those ranked games with Liberty and Michigan Dearborn and Stony Brook and Calvin. I mean, it's not going to be easy. So we just want to prepare the best we can, because we have a lot of respect for all those teams and players and coaches. So we're really looking forward to the challenge.
What do you think of our Red Wings? I'm telling you, they've started out great. Hopefully they can keep it up, eh?
They're a lot of fun to watch. I haven't watched this much Wings hockey in a while. I've been trying to catch as many as I can, but just to compete and I go back to like that goal that Larkin saved. Was it?
Oh yeah,
with the empty netter, and then they ended up tying it up. It's just these guys compete, and it's fun to watch. It's and they're young too, right? They're a young group, so excited for obviously this year, but also the future as well.
Yeah, they don't take, they're tough. They don't take any crap anymore. They give it right back, and they're gamers. I mean, I know it's early, but boy, they look like they could possibly sneak in the playoffs this year. That'd be fun, huh?
Yeah, and they're in such a tough division. Like there's so many good teams, right?
Yeah.
And but you like even look at like their penalty kill and those streaks they've been going on without giving up a penalty kill goal. Like I think there's a lot of pride in defending and a lot of pride in keeping the puck out of the net, and they've been fun to watch. That's for sure.
Well, Gary, I know you want to get going, getting ready to play a little hockey yourself. What position do you play?
I play D. I play defense, and it's good. I like to be that stay-at-home guy, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, go quarterback a power play tonight and blast one past the goaltender for us. We'll be your good luck charm. We'll give you some Captain Lou ACHA karma here tonight.
Yeah, that sounds great. So appreciate you having me on.
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing you at the rinks. And
sounds good.
Will you be in Boston this year?
I will be in Boston for sure. And I am going to make it a point to come down to Adrian to watch you guys play a game once January hits. I see, because you don't play Aquinas this year, but I want to get down there because you got such a beautiful facility and watch one of your games. So I'll try to look you up when I'm down there.
Yeah, I'd love to have you there. Shoot me a message when you come to town. And,
okay.
It'd be great to see you.
All right, Gary, thanks again for joining us. Good luck tonight, and good luck in the rest of the season, and we'll talk to you in 2023.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Lou.
You bet. Good night. Gary Astalos, head coach of the ACHA men's Division I team. The Bulldogs off to a 16-2-1 start. Again, every year they're right there. And if you're in Lower Michigan in the southeastern side of the state, check out Adrian College, check out the Bulldogs, their facility there to watch a game. All their divisions. I think they've got the number one ranked team in Division II in the ladies, and Division I, they're right up there as well. They're D3, they're D2, all 5 divisions. It's a great program that even their NCAA team in Division III, I think they were national champions as well in 2021. So, yeah, you talk about a marquee program over the years, and they haven't let up. Gary, as he mentioned, won it all in 2019 down in Dallas, I believe it was. And then in 2021, they won in St. Louis in the COVID shortened year. And then 2022, they were in the Final Four, losing to Lindenwood in the semifinals. And again, it's the the one unique thing about the Division One in the ACHA is that for tournament time as well they it's single elimination. It's one and done. Now the top 4 teams they get to they get to buy into the second or third round, but it's one and done. And as Gary mentioned, the teams can be very easily knocked off. As we've had some upsets last year down in St. Louis. I want to say if 12 team knocked off a 5 team, and that kind of a thing. So right here, what I wanted to bring up on the screen is the Division One rankings real quick. And as you can see on top, Minot State is ranked number 1. And then you've got Liberty at number 2, Adrian College at number 3, as we mentioned, University of Nevada, Las Vegas at 4, Central Oklahoma 5. Central Oklahoma, of course, had that historic run last year. Didn't make it to the finals, but all they did was, 1-5 overtime game. I think they played in another overtime game. Jamestown at 6, the Jimmies. Ohio U, they're always up there at number 7. Calvin, we talked about them. They're up to number 8. They haven't lost a regulation time game yet this year, 13-0-2. Indiana Tech, they're at number 9 this week, 12-1-3. Maryville, 8-4-3. Niagara at 11 this year, 8-3. They have given Adrian one of their 2 losses in Adrian, 4-3. So they're right up there. Arizona State at 12. University of Pittsburgh at 13. Lawrence Tech at 14. They're having a great year, 10-1-4. Ken Gaffney's team off to a wonderful start. Illinois State at 15. Indiana, University of Pennsylvania at 16. Grand Valley at 17. And you've got Arizona at 18. Stony Brook at 19. And then Utah at 20. So right there's your top 20 teams in the Division One rankings as of this week. I know the new ones will probably come out tomorrow. Check out achahockey.org, and you can get all the latest news and the rankings as well on that. So again, thanks to head coach Gary Astalos for joining us here on the ACHA Power Play as we are live on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube. Invite you to subscribe to that. You can get all of our shows, not only the ACHA Power Play, but of course the Captain Lou Extravaganza, which will be on tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. We're going to talk Lions football and of course Michigan football, right? The Big Ten East champions with that thumping they gave Ohio State on Saturday. Their next date, of course, Saturday night with the Big Ten championship game against Purdue. We've got a great lineup of guests tomorrow night as well. We invite you to check that out, 7 to about 8:30 tomorrow night, live on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube. So subscribe to that. We've got some fun things working in the works for that. If you want to subscribe to our channel, the ACHA Power Play will be back there again next Tuesday night as well. We're going to have a great lineup of guests as we roll on, as the road to Boston continues here on the ACHA Power Play. We the Division 2 and Division 3 for the men's, Division 1 for the Division 2 as well. They've all got a full lineup of games. And as we talked about with Coach Astalos, it gets once the Christmas holiday gets going, that's when things get a little interesting. So we can't wait to talk to all the coaches about that. And you could tell, a little more seriousness in the tone of the interviews too after Christmas, as a lot of these teams jockeying for position, especially, in Division 2 and Division 3, well, in all the divisions, really. Division 1, we've got 8 automatic bids for conference champions, and then they take the 12 at-large bids. So these rankings, you got to keep an eye on them. If you want to be safe in Division 1, for example, your best bet is probably to stay in that top 13 to 14 range. Usually you're pretty good there because a lot of the teams that are in the top 10 or whatever are conference champions for the most part, unless upsets happen in their conference tournament. But that's when you start to sweat to get around the 14 and 15 range. And then, of course, in Division 2 in the ACHA, you've got the regional tournaments. And the top 2 teams in each region, they get the automatic bye to go to Boston. And then 3 through 14 play in a 2-day or 3-day single elimination tournament to get those other 2 spots to qualify, then go into the pool play in D2 and D3. And I got to tell you, some of those games as well are some of the most competitive games in that pool play to get to the semifinals and the finals. And of course, we all know in Division III what happened as well in their national tournament. Hope College, the defending champion, Chris Van Timmeren. I don't know how many times I got to ask him this, but when are you going to make it easy on yourself to win an easy game? They went to overtime to get to the national championship game, or to the semis, or the national championship game last year by defeating Arkansas. The year before that, they had to beat Michigan in the semifinals as well. So, but yeah, it is so much fun to be a part of that. And so you want to keep an eye on the rankings as well in Division II and Division III. Division III this year, they take the top 16 teams and they all converge as well in pool play. And then the women's and the women's in the 2 divisions, I think they take the top 12 in the women's and the top 16 in Division II. They have pool play there as well. And there were some great games. I had the privilege of calling some of those games as well last year. And I got to tell you, they went from coast to coast the whole game. Just the speed level in the women's games as well. It's definitely picked up, and it is a great brand of hockey. So still to come, we're going to be talking to head coach Carl Trosien probably in about 3 or 4 minutes. He's going to give us a call, and we'll see how everything's going with him as he now the head coach of Purdue Northwest, formerly of Grand Valley. He's got them off to a great start, the 22nd ranked team in Division I. Kind of uncharted waters for their team, but they're again off to a wonderful start as well. Carl's going to stop by and kind of talk about the life as the head coach down at Purdue Northwest. So we look forward to that as well. Again, you're on the ACHA Power Play here on the Captain Lou Sports Network, powered up by Belly Up Sports and the Belly Up Network of podcasts. And of course, we want to thank the folks at the ACHA for giving us this platform as well. It's been an absolute treat and an honor to be a part of the ACHA in a very small way, bringing you all the latest goings on there, the rankings and everything else. So my thanks to Dave Kurtz and of course Craig Barnett, the director, and all the coaches and the players for their access and whatnot to help make this possible here on the ACHA Power Play. So, again, we took a look at the rankings in men's Division I real quick. We'll go over those again. Number 1 is Minot State, 11-0. Number 2 is Liberty. They bumped up a couple of spots from the previous ranking at number 4. Then you got Adrian College at 3, as we mentioned. Nevada, Las Vegas, they spent some time at 1 and 2. They've dropped down to 4. And then Central Oklahoma at 5. Jamestown at 6. Ohio at 7. Calvin at 8. Indiana Tech at 9. Maryville at 10. Niagara at 11. And Arizona State at 12. University of Pittsburgh at 13. Lawrence Tech at 14. Illinois at 15. Rounding out the top 20, Indiana University of Pennsylvania at 16. Grand Valley at 17. Stony Brook at 18. And Arizona at 18. Stony Brook at 19. And the University of Utah at 20. So there you go. Kind of a look at some of the goings on in as far as the top 20 in the ACHA. As let's see if we can't take a quick look while we got a minute. Let's give you the leading scores in Division I while we've got a minute. And I knew this was going to happen. I can never get this gentleman's name right. I always butcher it. But Petrila, forgive me, Petrila Christoph. I hope I got that right. I'm going to have to give we'll have to give them a call here tomorrow and get this one straightened out. So anyways, he's from Calvin. And he's got 16 goals, 23 assists for 39 points. He's tops in Division I. Jacob Seibinger right behind him, also at 39 points, 12 goals, 27 assists. Adam Marvin from William Patterson in men's Division I at 39 points as well. Luke Reeve from Ohio at 38 points. And Gage Thrall from Grand Valley State at 38. and then Kyle Van Duzen at 36 points. All right, well, let's go back to our guest line right now, and let's bring in the head coach of Purdue Northwest, good friend of the show, Carl Trosien. Carl, how are you? Thanks for joining us tonight.
Good to be here, Lou.
How was your Thanksgiving?
Oh man, Thanksgiving was great. I ate too much, but it was great.
You and I both, I told my wife, I said, I'm embarrassed. She said, why is that? I said, I was the only one to get up for seconds at Thanksgiving dinner. So I think I ate enough for the whole family. So, and I know what you mean, man.
That's my favorite meal of the year. I mean, that's my favorite holiday, my favorite meal. So yeah, I mean, I broke mine up because I had to go recruit in the middle of it. So
wow, look at you go.
Yeah, right. I mean, I waited till Friday. I got on the road, came back, had leftovers again on Saturday. But it is what it is, right?
Oh, absolutely. So, hey, first off, let's talk about at the beginning of the year, or you're off to a pretty good start, Carl. And I know coaches, like I was talking. It's funny. This is coincidence. Now, I was talking to Gary Astalos. I didn't realize you guys were playing each other this weekend, but I know you guys don't look at the rankings a whole lot. But the first time your program's been ranked 22nd, I believe. Congratulations on that. You guys are off to a great start.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I actually talked to Gary today. Off topic here. He's one of my best buds in the business and one of the nicest guys out there. So I got to give him some love before I get into it. Right. Love that guy. No, anyway. Yeah, off to a good start. It's been a wild ride. It has, just kind of going from we're a really, really young team with 12 freshmen in our lineup, 13 freshmen in our lineup. We talked a few weeks ago when we were at Adrian, or when we were at Aquinas, and we've kind of been in development mode with those kids and getting those kids minutes and trying to bring that group along because we are very young with the freshmen and sophomores we have.
It's amazing.
And then all of a sudden, but all of a sudden you get to this point, and now it's December, and now you're sitting 22 in the rankings.
Wow.
But now that's got to start to kind of creep in a little bit. That like, what are we doing here? Are we still in development mode? Or do we got to kind of switch gears a little bit here and start thinking about maybe trying to backdoor our way into the national tournament, right? So, a great start. Like I said, maybe I think, I'm a little surprised at where we're at just based on, being a first year team. You don't normally get that kind of momentum early like we got at the D1 level. So, yeah, a little shocked, still a little shocked, but we're going to find out exactly what we're made of here in about 48 hours.
Well, and I've heard coaches and I've heard, talking heads say this, but, maybe the kids aren't, once you start winning, boy, I'll tell you what, that breeds confidence. Maybe they just don't know what they're getting themselves into. I don't know. But, boy, once you start winning, you get that mentality and you don't know anything different. And maybe that's kind of part of it too.
I hope so. I hope we're young enough and we're dumb enough that we don't know what's happening.
I didn't want to say it.
Right?
I didn't want to say it.
I'm there. It's okay. I'm there. You know what I mean? Because you've seen it. I've seen it. Okay. Like going into that building, especially that building in the ACHA.
Yeah.
There's a handful of buildings that are really, really hard to play in for any hockey team, let alone a young hockey team. Arrington Ice Arena is that building.
Oh boy.
That is a tough building to go into and play hockey. It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
So like I said, I mean, that's always my concern, right? Is it's always Thursday night. It's on the road, like right off the hop. Like, so you got to go in there on Thursday night. You got 12 or 13 freshmen, no clue what they're getting themselves into. So I mean, yeah, that's what you worry about as a coach, right? What's the first 10, 15 minutes look like? After that, things calm down. But what does the first 10 minutes in that building against that team look like? And I mean, I've said that for 2 years now.
Yeah.
You get through the first 10 minutes. Now you're in a hockey game.
Yeah.
But you got to get through the first 10 minutes against a really, really good team that comes out flying at home.
Yeah. And it's funny is you can tell them that all you want because you've seen it, but these kids haven't. Now they get to experience it. And I bet you that's, does that make you nervous at all?
Makes me very nervous. How about that? That's the part that those are the unknowns that we don't know yet. We don't know how they're going to respond. We don't know how they're going to react, right? So that's the part that, like, I like where we're at as a group. I like the group I have. I like the mentality I have. But again, you throw some adversity in there, you throw an environment like that in there, and it starts to, you're gonna find out who you are real fast.
Well, Carl, we're joined by Carl Trosien, the head coach of Purdue Northwest, ACHA Men's Division I head coach. Carl, let's get right to it now. We talked about this. You kind of explained it to me a little bit when I got to see you about a month and a half ago or whatever, it was a month ago. We know the story. You got this job kind of at the last minute. It was a whirlwind situation. It came about. Has your head stopped spinning? Are you getting settled in a little bit now?
No, my garage is still full of boxes. No, it was wild, right? Because like obviously I wasn't looking. Coach Tom Zach, who was here before me, is a good friend of mine. That Culver job at Culver Academy. Trying to find somebody to come in here, and with the recruits that he had coming, some really good hockey players, some really high character kids. Wanted to make sure he brought help bring the right guy in behind him. I think he called me 3 times to see if I'd be interested in this gig, and every time I told him, no way, the wife's letting me move. Right. The third time I finally started to listen to what kind of was going on here and what we have going on here now. And it started to pique my interest a little bit, just from a long-term sustainability. And you look at any rankings in the ACHA now, D1, D2, D3, women's, any of them.
Yeah.
The fully funded schools with full-time coaches, man, they're the ones that are winning nationals. They're the ones that are top 25 programs at every level, right? It's getting hard to compete with. So for me, like being a little selfish, I'm not going to lie, looking at that was like, oh man, this is a good long-term situation. And then taking care of my family. It's the first time I've been doing this 15 years. You and I go back a long ways. Been doing this 15 years at this level. This is the first time I've been employed full-time to coach hockey. Always been grinding to do other things. The wife, being a great sport and letting me do this. So, I mean, it's the first time I've been able to coach hockey full-time. So yeah, a little selfish. Yeah, there was a little bit of that there too. But at the end of the day, we just thought it was for what I wanted to do and what I want to do at the end of the day. We just thought this was a better long-term setup for us. And nothing against Grand Valley and nothing against where we had been and the program we put together down there or up there. But it was just, sometimes you have to look at, the family side of things and the family financial side of things first. And this was just a situation we couldn't let go by the wayside, if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes 100%. It makes all the sense in the world. I don't blame you. It's one of those things that happens in life. I mean, I guess, it's so funny. Like I said, we were talking about certain things we were trying to set up. And next thing I know, you were heading down there. I'm like, wow, his head must be spinning. Now, my next question is, how long did it take you? All of a sudden, you've got this new team, right? You're going from Grand Valley, you're going down to Northwest, and how long did it take you to really get to know the guys on your roster that you inherited at Purdue Northwest?
Oh man, I was lucky. I had 12 or 13 freshmen, so we got to do it together.
Okay.
The older guys took me a little bit longer, right? You know what I mean? Because I'm learning 30 guys, not 8. So yeah, it took some time. Honestly, I'll be brutally honest with you. I came in here, I was honest with them. I told them what I wanted to do. I told them how I planned to do it. We kind of laid out a roadmap to get kind of where we are right now. Obviously, my roadmap was probably a year or 2 out. Not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
Got there a lot quicker than I think anybody thought we would. But no, just kind of laid out a roadmap of what we plan to do and how we plan to make it happen. And lucky for me, the kids kind of bought in right away. And I know I had some help from the previous staff and the athletic director, just, keeping kids patient. Cause I know that's the hardest thing. You commit to a university, you're a second year, third year player. I mean, they've had 3 coaches in 3 years down here. I mean, that's the reality of the situation. So I think part of it was just when they realized I was buying a house and I was uprooting the family and we were coming down here. I think that had a lot to do with, their level of buy-in. It was just, man, the guy sold a house and completely relocated and had a pretty good hockey team up there, by the way, who they're not doing bad either.
No.
So, I mean, left a really good situation for a situation that I thought was going to be really good long-term. And I think at the end of the day, we were just honest about it. I think they saw what we saw. And, like I said, I mean, we're going through it together. We're growing together down here.
Carl, I look at, your schedule. You guys started out pretty good, and then you kind of had a little speed bump. You had a good game. You're able to split with Calvin, who they haven't lost a regular season game yet this year. I don't think you took them. You beat them
They
in the
have
shootout.
They have not. Yep.
Yeah, and you gave them their toughest test, I believe. And then you had a speed bump against Aquinas, but then you rebounded
Absolutely.
and you got 4 straight wins. And to me, that's the sign of a good team is they can kind of shrug that off, and they're all 4 conference wins too for you. Those are huge, and
Yeah,
I'm very impressed.
We hit a speed bump. You're exactly right. We talked because you were calling the game on Saturday up there against Aquinas, and that was probably the one weekend right now where if you look at our schedule and like, Carl, do you want a game or a weekend back? That's the one obviously I want back. That's
Sure.
the one where I thought, that was not a true representation of kind of where we're at as a group. But the Calvin weekend was huge. I think Friday night we were just a little overwhelmed by what we saw. It was the first real D1 speed that we saw, coming out of the first real team that challenged us. Made some adjustments with our guys, and then they played phenomenal on Saturday and got a split, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, here we go. And then hit that speed bump there with you guys, and then with Aquinas. And then we had a weekend off after that. And that weekend off was the best thing that ever happened. I'm not lying. It couldn't have come at a better time. We had guys that were mentally fatigued. The grind had started to do what the grind does when you have 13 freshmen. And we sent some kids home, just said, hey, go home for the weekend, get out of here. Told some kids to focus on academics. We cut practice back that week, and I think we took a day or two off during the week and just kind of tried to make it a light week. And yeah, they came back ready to go for a 4 or 5 game sprint. And now we had Thanksgiving, and now we're back for another 5 game sprint to Christmas. And I think it's like 5 and 8 days. It's crazy, but we're hoping that it's going to kind of solidify our spot and where we're at, where we want to be.
Now, you mentioned that 5 game sprint, and we talked about it, but we'll talk about it again. It comes up Thursday. It starts out with Adrian Thursday, and Friday, I believe you guys play. And after that, a game that I think it's gonna gotta feel weird for you when you got Grand Valley coming into town. What, a week from tomorrow, a Wednesday game down.
The only thing weirder would be if I was going up there. But yeah, exactly right.
And then you got a Concordia team, Carl, that I've seen them. They're good. They're not the Concordia from a few years ago when they were first starting. They're big and they're quick.
Wahlberg's done a good job recruiting there.
Yeah.
We've obviously seen what he's done. And just being honest, like, we played them last year at Grand Valley, and thing that stuck out to me is obviously his experience. I thought, they weren't the most skilled team we played. I thought X's and O's wise, they were maybe the most disciplined team I'd seen. If that makes sense.
That is the perfect word for it.
They were very, very good.
Yes.
And they can give you fits. And when they play the way that they're supposed to play or designed to play or built to play, they can win some hockey games. So no, and that's where I really, like I said, I didn't make this schedule thing. So I can claim, hey, I didn't have nothing to do with it. But at the end of the day, I did schedule that Grand Valley game. No, I think everybody's trying to get games in before Christmas, right? Because the second semester is so short, and the guys get back from Thanksgiving, and they're just kind of, it's like if you have 1 weekend or 2 weekends, oh, okay. You throw a couple weeknight games in there, and all of a sudden, it's like, oh man, we got to go. We got, like, so we got 5 and 8, right? Now, the thought process here is we obviously play a weekend with Grand Valley second semester.
Right.
The home game's outside. It's an outdoor game.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Where is it? Talk a little about that. No, go ahead. What? That's interesting.
No, so Crown Point, which is where I'm at, they have an outdoor rink, pavilion. It's a great setup. And we always, like, a lot of our faculty and staff live down this way. So it's about 15 minutes from campus. But, it's one of those communities that really, really support us. So we're gonna go ahead and play down here. And it's a great time because you're outside, and they got the fire pits going and the beer cart going, and
that'll be fun.
It'll be a great time. But so that's obviously a conference game. So last year they did it with Northern Michigan. There were some weather issues. The weather doesn't cooperate, as we know, sometimes in January and February. Yep. So when I was talking to Nick about scheduling the game, we just made the decision to play a third game. And that was just in case weather forced any cancellations. We weren't trying to jam a conference game into a week and a half before conference tournament, right?
Right.
That weekend is so late. So it's just one of those things where it made sense to play a third game, and if something does get washed out with the outdoor game, you're not scrambling to make up a game with a week and a half before conference tournament.
We know how the weather is in that area of the country, man. The wind blows the wrong way, you get a foot of snow, man. It's crazy
Right?
in that snow belt area,
Oh my goodness, it happened the other day. It was we got a foot of snow, and it was crazy for a couple days, and now it's 50 degrees, and there's not I could play golf right now if I wanted to, today if I wanted to. So yeah, it's wild. So yeah, just trying to manage and make sure we're not, that's all that was. But yeah, no, now all of a sudden, with us sitting 22, now it's a heck of a last week, right? What is it? It's 3 for 2, rate number 3 for 2 games. Number 17 and number 19 for a single, and then a team sitting just right behind us in the rankings, like knocking on the door. Like all of a sudden, we've got 5 really big hockey games.
Yeah. When do you get time to play golf?
Oh man, with the move, I haven't played since probably the last time I played was at the Meadows up at Grand Valley. So it's been that long. So I haven't played since I moved. How about that?
Well, we'll have to get together this summer and hit the golf course.
We will have to. How about that?
That works. So you've got the games coming up with Concordia, then you're off for I think 5 weeks. What do you do during that time frame besides getting your wife's good graces?
I recruit my bag off. That's what I do.
Smart man.
No, yeah, we're close. I said we're close to them. I think maybe even I thought I was coming down here. Like I said, I love the kids that I got. Okay, but our roster's not there yet. So we got to get after it. And I mean, like I said, we've got 12 or 13 freshmen and another handful of D2 kids that are really, really good hockey players. And they belong to D1 level. But we've got some pieces that we've got to unfortunately go out and replace too. And that's kind of where it comes. I mean, I think, we're a recruiting cycle away from being a really, really good team. So that's my job over Christmas break is to go, hit the holiday showcase circuit there and try to find another handful of kids that, get us closer to where we want to be, which is playing at the national tournament on a regular basis.
Wow, man, it sounds like that you've hit the ground running down there, Carl, and you haven't stopped, man.
Trying like heck, that.
But you wouldn't have it any other way, would you?
No, I don't lose well. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's board game, video games with my 14-year-old son, board games with the wife, like you name it. Like I want to. I hate losing more than I love winning. So I mean, at the end of the day, I mean that's the mentality you hope your team kind of takes on, right?
Right.
You know what I mean, man. Man, hate losing more than you love winning, and you'll be okay.
So they sucked you into becoming a Blackhawks fan since you're living closer to Chicago now?
Not a chance. Not a chance.
Yeah, I was talking to Gary, the Red Wings. Boy, they're impressive so far. They're such a fun team to watch. Have you gotten a chance to watch them at all?
Yeah, I was so impressed with the way Stevie built Tampa in the first place.
Yeah,
and to kind of watch what he's doing with the Wings. They're not far off either, and I don't mean far off from making the playoffs. I mean they're a handful of young players developing away from making a run here with some free agents. So I mean, no, it's exciting. Like he's just a phenomenal hockey mind. Being able to see it at that level and then find those pieces and then put that puzzle together is it's a gift for anybody who can do it. And to do it twice like he's done it now, it's impressive. It's a sight to see, and like I said, man, to see all the talent that they have coming up in that system, man, it's going to be a fun next 10 years to be a Wings fan. Boy, you're not there yet, there yet, but it's getting close.
We're definitely getting close, and it is fun. We paid our price as a Red Wing fans of 5 or 6 years of being dormant, but hey, for 25 years straight going to the playoffs, I'll take that anytime, winning a handful of cups, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to change it on you, man, but change it up here, a little shift gears here, man. But how about the Lions, man? They're starting to kind of figure some things out too, I think.
What's funny is I'm not one for moral victories, and I'm not calling Thanksgiving a moral victory, but they played good, and I got a feeling.
I was stewing.
Oh,
come on, we all were.
I was pissed, but if they play like that, Carl, I still think they can win 4 or 5 more games, and then you never know. I mean, if they can get on a roll, it's like your team. You guys are winning, and you're just finding ways to win, and you're gaining that confidence. Campbell's finally figuring out how to win, and Detroit's got to get over that hump. But I tell you,
you're exactly right.
That schedule they have is not that overpowering because they get Minnesota and Chicago at home, and Green Bay's a mess. And
absolutely,
the
no,
Jets.
and I think it just goes to show, like, it's amazing how when you have good people leading at the helm, you can turn things around. And like I said, I mean, what Stevie did,
yep,
and now what Holmes and Campbell are doing, it's one of those things where you just kind of you watch it, and for me, I hate to say this, but it's one of those things where I just want to make those guys tick. You know what I mean? You want to get inside their brain. I would love an hour of lunch to sit down with somebody like Stevie or Campbell and Holmes, and just what are you looking like at the end of the day? What is it like what sways you on a college kid? I mean, what does he say that makes you go, yeah, we're gonna trade up and mortgage our future for that guy, right? You know what I mean? Or like, I don't know, man, but like I think it's all about character. It's all about work ethic at the end of the day, and you can either find those kids or you can't. And I mean, right now we're pretty fortunate here, and I think they are too. They've got young guys. I mean, the Lions they're super young, so it's crazy. The Wings are super young, so I mean, I think it's harder to understand when you've got young guys winning, right? I mean, you get a veteran team winning, but when you get some young guys that figure it out, man, that's special.
Boy, winning breeds confidence, and it seems like that's what you guys got going on at Northwest, and same with the Red Wings. Carl, I know you're doing good. You're doing well, and keep it up, man. Hey, good luck Thursday against Adrian down there, and again on Friday. It's always fun to see two good teams play, and I'm going to try to look it up Thursday, watch it online. So in the meantime, if I don't talk to you, have a Merry Christmas. Keep up the great work, and I'll get a hold of you once 2023 rolls around.
We'll talk soon, Lou. You know that.
You bet. Thanks, Carl. Good luck.
Thanks, bud.
You bet.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Carl Trosien, the head coach of Purdue Northwest. They are ranked 22nd in Division I in the ACHA, and again, off to a great start, as we mentioned, 10-2-1, 5-1 in the Great Lakes Collegiate Hockey League. They've got a huge matchup this weekend again against obviously the standard bearer in that conference, that being Adrian College. They're ranked 3rd in the country, and it's going to be a great weekend of games there. They play Thursday night at Adrian, and then Friday night at the Cube in Hammond. And just look at each team's website, the Adrian College website. You can watch that game live, and as well on Friday night when Purdue Northwest plays them at home. So thank you to Carl Trosien for joining us. And, of course, head coach Gary Astalos from Adrian College joining us as well. A few minutes left here. What I want to do real quick, we'll just show you some of the rankings here in the other divisions as we wrap things up here tonight. See if I can get it up on the screen real quick here. This is something new for me. I kind of want to check it out here. Let's see what we can do here. All right. I just want to kind of see if we've got the right. Yeah, there we go. All right. The men's 2 rankings, Division II. Now, what we talked about with the rankings is the top 2 teams in each region in Division II. They advance to the national tournament in Boston, and teams 3 through 14, they're the ones that have to go to regional tournaments, and we'll get you the regional locations here shortly. And the format there is it's like March Madness. You win in advance. The top 4 teams in each, like 3 through 6, I believe, get a bye, but they play 2, if not 3 days in a row to get those last 2 spots. So the top 2 teams in the Northeast region, Boston College and UMass, they're mainstays, obviously, every year in the national tournament. They're 1 and 2. Bentley and Boston are 3 and 4. Then you've got Northeastern and Keene State. There are a couple of teams very familiar with the rankings and with the national tournament as well. In the Central region, you've got Lindenwood and Trine at 1 and 2. Then you've got Minnesota Crookston and St. Thomas at 3 and 4. Then it goes down to Concordia, then Lake Superior State, DePaul and Iowa, Adrian at 9, and then Minnesota at 10, rounding out the top 10 there. In the Southeast, Florida Gulf Coast, They played in the national tournament last year against University of Mary. That was a triple overtime game. For those of you that don't remember that one, Mary won that one in triple overtime. They're right back up there at number one in their region. Liberty, again, you talk about Adrian College with the pedigree with all the teams in all the divisions, in the men's and the women's, always right there. Liberty College right there. They're at number 2. Then you've got Miami, Kentucky at 4, Ohio at 5, Penn State at 6, Iowa at 7, Ohio at 8, and on 9 with Pennsylvania, 10 at Rowan. And finally in the West, University of Mary back on top at number 1, Montana State at number 2, and then 3 through 10 is Utah State, Metro State, Denver, University of Northern Colorado, Weber State, University of Montana, and the University of Utah, and then Dakota College of Bottineau at 10. So there you kind of go as far as that goes for the rankings in the top 10 or in the regions in Division 2. Let's see if we can bring up the Division 3 rankings real quick here as I don't know if I have those. If not, I'll have to get those. No, let's see. I think I can get those up for you right here. Now, for Division 3, as we mentioned, they take the top 16 teams in, and they slot them in pool play. The defending champions right now, Hope College, they're at number 11, but it's early yet. Kind of what they do every year. They kind of rise up as the year goes on. Springfield College is at number 1, SUNY Maritime at number 2, UMass at 3, Connecticut at 4, Sacred Heart at 5. You can see it, WPI at 6, Harvard 7, all the way down to number 15, Arkansas. They've been there every year. They get the last couple of years, they've been to the Final Four. And then you've got Saginaw Valley at 16. And then, of course, University of Michigan knocking on the door at 17 as well. So some of the schools there. And finally, let's see if we can't take a look at real quick, see if we can get the women's rankings up here before we call it a night here on the ACHA Power Play. The women's rankings, you can see those right now, the top 15 teams. Liberty, again, on top at number 1. Then you've got Adrian College at 2, Midland at 3, and then you've got Indiana Tech at 4, Minot State at 5, Maryville at 6. Then, of course, Arizona State at 7, Miami at 8, and University of Massachusetts at 9, and the University of Michigan at 10. So there you go right there, some of the rankings. And also, finally, let's see if we can't get the women's D2 rankings up here. Real quick, you kind of take a look at those in the regions. Northeast has Vermont at number 1. Providence at number 2, Assumption at 3, Northeastern at 4, Boston at 5, and Boston College at 6. In the Central in the Central Division, or Central Region rather, Adrian College again number 1, Central Michigan at 2, Sioux College at 3, Michigan State at 4, Miami at 5, Bowling Green at 6. And you can see at the Western, the defending national champions, Assiniboine at number 1, Villanova at number 1 in the Southeast, and you can see down the rankings right there. North Dakota State at 2, Minnesota Duluth at 3, and then in the Southeast, you've got the Naval Academy at 2, University of Delaware at 3, Liberty at 4, Rowan at 5, and Ohio State at 6. So there you go. The rankings in all of the divisions, men's 1 and 2 and 3, and women's 1 and 2. So, well, hey, that's going to about do it tonight. Again, we want to thank head coach Gary Astalos from the Adrian Bulldogs ACHA men's Division 1 team. They're ranked 3rd in Division 1. They've got a big matchup this weekend, as we talked about with our other guests, and that being the head coach Carl Trosien of Purdue Northwest. A big Great Lakes Hockey Conference matchup Thursday and Friday. You can catch the Thursday game on the Adrian College website, and then Friday on the Purdue Northwest website. Should be a couple of really good games, as both teams having great years. Purdue Northwest ranked 22nd. So we want to thank both of those coaches for coming on, Gary Astalos and Carl Trosien. And we want to thank you, the viewer, for taking time out tonight to watch us. And again, we want to thank the Belly Up Sports Network of podcasts for kind of helping make this possible, to power it up, if you will. Belly Up Sports. Check out bellyupsports.com for all the latest in articles that we have. We've got such a great team of reporters. Can't say enough about all the articles that they do, all the coverage they give for all the sports, pro and college. And we want to thank them for helping us make this possible here on the ACHA Power Play. Well, we're going to be back again, as I mentioned, next Tuesday night with another edition of the ACHA Power Play. We'll have some great guests lined up. We hope that you could take time out to watch us there on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube. Well, hey, thanks again for joining us. Captain Lou saying keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving, and as always, keep your minds open. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on the ACHA Power Play. So long.